All right, I'm hitting record. Whoever has the thing, hit record. It is 7:06, and I am calling us to order. Greetings. My name is Joe Bishop Henchman, and this is the ANC 5F Commission. We will start with a roll call if the vice chair could call the roll.
Sure. I am present. Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Here.
Commissioner Galban.
Here.
Commissioner Hurst.
Here.
Pinckney. Commissioner Pinckney.
Here.
Commissioner Sani.
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
We are all present.
Excellent. First item up is public comment. Oh, I'm sorry. First, Commissioner Anderson had some stuff for the people online, just to be aware of. So.
Yes, so I just wanted to remind everyone we are recording the meeting so that folks can participate virtually. And for those folks who are joining virtually, the chat is open. It's primarily there to let us know if you have any questions or if you're having any technical difficulty. There are portions of the agenda that we invite public comment, and the chair will make that clear. Please either indicate in the chat or raise your hand if you'd like to be recognized for that portion.
Excellent, and we are at that portion. So that's next on the agenda is public comment, up to 2 minutes per speaker, and any non-commissioner can take advantage of it. If anybody would like to share whatever they got on the mind with the commission. And somebody will let me know if someone online raises their hand.
We do have someone raising their hand.
All right.
I will unmute them.
The person at 410, I'm not going to read the full phone number, but the 410 area code, you're recognized.
And please make sure to introduce yourself as you begin your comment.
If you're trying to speak, we can't hear you yet.
4 and 5. Hold on.
One moment.
Sorry.
Yes.
We can hear
Okay,
us
now we can. Sorry about that. All right, go right ahead.
I apologize. Good evening, Commissioners. Chris Wall from Gordon 5 Line, Baltimore, Maryland. My colleague James McKittrick is also dialed in. We hoped to be on Teams, but we can't get the link to work. It won't let us register. So I apologize for being phone in only. I only wanted to raise my hand at first to say that we were having trouble hearing you and that the call was breaking up for part of the prior Commissioner's remarks.
Are you able to hear us now, however?
They're very clear, yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, excellent.
Might have to pass that around.
Cool. Yeah, we'll try and we're still working through the kinks of getting all the hardware we need to run a hybrid meeting, but we will try and accommodate that. And thank you again for your patience, sir.
And then can we try to find out what's going on with the Teams link on that? And then I think Commissioner Hurst, you have his information, so you can get
I do,
it to him.
yeah.
All
We
right.
can, if we amend the Teams link, I can send it.
Thank you for that information. Next, anyone else? Anyone in the room? Well, we welcome you.
No one raising their hands?
I don't see anyone.
Just in case we're having any technical difficulties, if you are on the phone and would like to join the public comment, please feel free to unmute yourself and identify yourself.
All right. Next item is response to public comment, if any commissioner wants to respond to any of the comments that were raised.
I'll respond. I added it to Wi-Fi, so it should improve the connection.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Gabon.
We've got a comment, period.
Commissioner Pinckney.
Why are we calling this a special
That's a
meeting?
typo on there. It should say regular.
Oh, okay.
My apologies.
Public meeting.
Yeah, this is
okay.
a regular meeting. All right. Next item is approval of the agenda. A week ago, I distributed a draft agenda incorporating everything that had been submitted in advance, and that's what you have in front of you. And I do thank everybody for circulating what they have. I know there are proposed amendments to the agenda, so we can just kind of go down the line on any of those. Why don't I start at the end and we'll work our way down if there are any. Commissioner Pinckney?
Come back to me.
Okay.
I'm trying to put
Okay.
something.
Commissioner Williams? Okay. Commissioner Hurst?
I would like to move to amend the agenda to include an action item to consider BZA case number 20844 as an action item this evening.
Okay. And is it how do I ask this? Do you have a recommended action for us to take? Is it to send a letter or is it to?
I would like to recommend that we approve or that we recommend to approve the zoning variance in use that they are requesting.
Okay. All right. And then have you given notice to the affected parties that you'd be raising this item tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
They are on the phone.
All right. Commissioner Hurst has moved to amend the agenda to add BZA 20844 as an action item to approve the zoning variance. Is there a second to amend the agenda in that regard?
Second.
All right, seconded by Commissioner Galvan. Is there objection?
A question on it. Has the developer been to BZA at all?
They sent in a packet that we can see. It's 35 pages. We can ask that question to the lawyer that's on the
Okay.
phone because they may be able to answer better than I.
Okay.
Is there objection?
Not an objection, but I would like to know if they've had any contact at all
Okay.
before folks vote to approve this.
Yeah, which will be later in the
That's
meeting.
reason why I'm asking.
All right, so I'm going to say there's no without objection, and that'll be added as agenda item F under the consent agenda. Did you have any further amendments, Commissioner Hurst?
I do not.
Did you have a amendment to A on the bank?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I would like to amend the.
I think that may be good.
Sorry, I'd like to amend the decision that we made on banking last meeting where we selected Citibank, which has not worked as our bank, and I would like to open that to Industrial Bank.
Okay, so this has already been noticed as A on the agenda, 11A, and there's a blank there, and so right now you're asking to fill in that blank with Industrial Bank.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second to filling in that blank with Industrial Blank?
Seconded.
Okay, seconded by Commissioner Anderson. Is there objection? Without objection. Do you have anything further, Commissioner Hurst?
I do not believe
Okay.
so.
I am next, and I have one item on B, 11B, which is to fill in the blank with the ANCF Standard Procedures 1.1, which is our mailing address, which we didn't have when we adopted it. We now do have one. And so I'd like to fill in that blank with P.O. Box 91843, Washington, D.C. 20090. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hurst. Is there objection? Without objection. So C is now modified in that regard. I had nothing further. Commissioner Sani?
I have no doubt.
Okay. Commissioner Anderson?
Chair, I'm just letting you know there's a raised hand from one of the participants. I believe it may be the folks regarding the BZA item. Just given technical difficulties, could we give them a moment to speak?
Yeah. Without objection, to listen to that person, maybe there'll be an answer to Commissioner Pinckney's question.
Okay.
So you're recognized. I apologize. I don't remember your name.
Should be Chris.
Oh, we have to unmute him.
Yeah.
All right. There we go.
There you go.
Oh, we had it for a moment.
You're recognized.
Can you hear me, Chris Wall?
Yes, we can hear you.
Mr. Wall, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Commissioner I heard that there was a question, but I could not hear what the question was. If that could be repeated.
The, the question is, have you been before the Board of Zoning Adjustment with this change that you're requesting?
Mr. Wall?
Well, I'm sorry, RAHL. My colleague, Tommy Johnson, had previously done a virtual hearing that I believe was before the BZA to first raise this, but I think that the location that this particular property falls in was getting shifted to another district. And so I think she did raise this before in connection with the application that was submitted to the BZA. But I don't know what came from that brief hearing, other than there was supposed to be another subsequent meeting of your group where it would be her, and then Commissioner Hurst reached out to notice that it would be her this evening. So I think the answer is yes.
Okay, and you don't know what the outcome of the previous hearing was? And nobody gives you notice?
Correct. My colleague that was there at that meeting was now traveling this whole week, and so when she got notice of this hearing this recently, I'm pitch hitting.
Okay. It may be a little bit till we get to that item, and maybe we can get a clarification, but it's on the agenda. Yeah. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Roll.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Commissioner Anderson, did you have any further amendments?
I do not.
Okay. Commissioner Galvan.
No.
Commissioner Pinckney, last call.
Yeah, I think item 2, public comment, probably the community didn't come up with but one comment, because they don't have too much to comment on until after we really get into the agenda. So we might want to consider not having comments so close to the top.
Do you want to add another public comment on this agenda tonight?
Well, if we're going to leave it from the top, we can always put it at the bottom.
Before adjournment? Or-
Yes.
Okay.
The final comment of the evening.
Commissioner Pinckney moves to add between 15 and 16 another period of public comment, 10 minutes up to 2 minutes per speaker. Is that up?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sani. Is there objection? Without objection. Commissioner Pinckney, did you have any further amendments?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Williams.
Yes, I would like to place on that Kraken Court. They are, one, trying to get into this meeting. They're having issues with getting into the link as well. They came before 5E last year. I tabled it until this year. They are for ABRA license, and the hearing is soon. So tonight basically will be just a catch-up, update, and a vote.
So would it be a discussion, well, based on that, I saw your email on this and I had asked if this would be a discussion item or an action item.
It's an action item.
Okay, so what would be the action item?
We vote for them to get their stimulus license.
Okay, to approve, it's an ABRA application, or to endorse the ABRA application, or?
Yes, endorse.
Okay, all right.
Support.
Commissioner Williams moves to amend the agenda to add an item related to Kraken's ABRA license application to endorse the license. Is that correctly stated? All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hurst. Is there objection?
I don't have an objection. I just have a point of inquiry, since we're newer to the process. Given the protest deadline has passed, do they still require an endorsement from us? Would that be supportive in their application?
So I guess that's a
Well,
question.
That's in case you have a protest. What I'm saying is not going to be any opposition.
Sure. I was just wondering, since I think the deadline had passed, right?
That's for the protest, yes.
Okay.
So any objection? Seeing none, it is adopted or it is added to the agenda without objection. I'm going to add it as item G. So yeah, that's on there. I think we've been through everybody. Did I miss anybody? I'm sorry, Commissioner Williams, did you have any further amendments?
No.
Okay. Did I miss anybody? All right. Chair will entertain someone moving to adopt the agenda as amended. From anyone?
So be it.
From Commissioner Williams, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hurst. Is there objection? Without objection, the agenda is adopted. Hooray.
Chair, just for information, I'm getting feedback from folks online that the audio is quite weak, so we'll, if
Okay.
commissioners can try to speak up for their portion, that would be helpful. We'll also try to pass the mic around, but a reminder to speak up for those joining virtually.
Is this anything, like if we were to take a 5-minute break, could we do anything differently?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's experimentation.
All right. All right, we will, I do apologize for the audio issues, as will be noted later. This commission is brand new, started January 1st. We have literally $0 until we get some startup stuff done, and we are making do with what we have, and we thank you for everybody for your patience. I am audio recording this separately from our system, so we will have that audio recording. And then, of course, if anybody's nearby, we are in the beautiful Chase building. I'm getting some feedback here. And we thank them for hosting us tonight. Next item is referral of items to committees. I don't think there are any items I've received that should be referred to committees which haven't been set up yet. So unless anybody wants to correct me on that, we can move past that item.
Yeah.
I think this might be a good opportunity to
Commissioner Anderson.
tell attendees, for folks in person and on the phone, that we are planning on recruiting members for committees. We'll have a survey available online, as well as paper copies of them, to provide more details about the committees. If you'd like to join, we'd very much welcome that. So stay tuned for details.
Thank you. Next item is approval of the minutes, and I will let Commissioner Galvan talk about that. Commissioner Galvan.
Sure. Thanks, Commissioner Benjamin. So the meeting minutes for the January 7th administrative planning session are posted on ANC5F.com. In addition, the January 17th Startup Commission meeting minutes are also posted on ANC5F.com under the meetings. And I would like to move to approve those meeting minutes as noted.
All right, so Commissioner Galvan, is it both at once or are you doing them separately?
We'll do them separately in case there are questions. So
All right.
I'll first move to have January 7th administrative planning session minutes.
All right, so Commissioner Galvan distributed copies of these minutes quite a while ago. Thank you for that. That was nice. So he moves to adopt the January 7th administrative planning session minutes. Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sani. Is there any objection? Without objection. Commissioner Galvan.
All right, I will move to approve the meeting minutes for the January 17th Startup Commission meeting.
Commissioner Galvan moves to approve the minutes of the January 17th meeting. I suppose I should ask if anybody has any corrections or amendments they want to make. So let me do that. Does
Sure.
anybody have any corrections or amendments to the minutes? All right, seeing none, Commissioner Galvan moves to adopt the January 17th minutes. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sani. Is there any objection? Without objection. We're zooming along. Next item is officer reports. I guess I have to go first. Hello, I'm your chair. I already said, please, I'm so very sorry for any issues we're having with technology. It's been a very busy month. I've seen many, if not all, of my commissioners, my fellow commissioners at multiple things this month, from our swearing in on January 2nd. The mayor had a crime forum 2 weeks ago. The chairman of the council had a budget session last night. Councilmember Parker of Ward 5 had a roundtable with community leaders this past weekend. And I'm probably leaving out stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. The big thing, I guess, that we should keep an eye on is the DC budget discussions are starting to happen. The mayor is expected to present her budget on March 22nd. I might be slightly off on that date, but I think that's what the date was. And Chairman Mendelson wants to have the council approve it by May. And usually Chairman Mendelson gets what he wants on that, on when he gets passage. So that 2-month period from mid-March to mid-May is going to be a lot of crazy budget discussions. That is our opportunity, both commissioners and members of the public, to influence that budget debate. So if there's something that you've always thought DC should have or do differently or do more of or do less of, now's your chance to be heard. I imagine we may weigh into it on matters that affect Eckington and Edgewood over the next couple of months as well. So please bring ideas, and that's something I'm keeping a very close eye on as well. I don't think I have anything further on my report. Any questions? Well, I just want to thank everybody for both your patience and for helping out. I think literally every commissioner has helped out with startup tasks, which of course is not why people ran for office and not probably what gives them the most joy in life, but it's very much appreciated. One would think, because we're a DC government entity, that we could draw upon the resources and the staff of the DC government to carry out our activities, but no, it's just us, and we're unpaid volunteers, just in case anybody forgets that. All right, thank you. Commissioner Anderson is our vice chair, and I'll recognize you if you have a report to give.
No reports from my end.
All right. Commissioner Hurst is our treasurer, and I will recognize him next.
Sure. So I have been trying to set up a bank account. I've had banks that are fairly not unhelpful in a lot of ways. We have recently received an email from the ANC that has said that that all ANCs need to update their bank accounts with 3 documents. I'm going to make sure that we have those documents because while Industrial Bank has said that they are willing to work with us and have agreed to set up an account for us, they are very shortly going to need these documents as well. But they were so much more helpful than Citibank and Wells Fargo. So if anyone wants an endorsement for a leading local bank that actually is helpful, Industrial Bank.
Thank you.
The 3 documents that we really need to get are approved minutes, bylaws, and a letter of authorization, letter on letterhead stating who the officers are and their positions. So I will need to provide that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we've approved the minutes, so that was the last thing on your checklist today. So
Awesome.
Good. Any questions for Commissioner Hurst? Seeing none, thank you. Our secretary is Commissioner Galvan. I'll recognize you if you have a report to give.
No, I'll just mention, appreciate everyone's feedback on any of the meeting minutes. I usually like to do them the night after, otherwise my memory goes away, so it helps to get it out the door. And I will also be posting things to the website on a regular basis as soon as documents are finalized, working with Chairman Bishop on that and any of the other officers as well. So the website really is our best resource right now to see what we're doing and get ahead of what's going to be on the agenda. So I just recommend folks that are listening in to check that out periodically throughout. We post most things 7 days in advance, if not sooner. So that's all I have to report. Thank you.
All right. That concludes officer reports. I am going to request that we recess for 5 minutes on this Teams issue. I want to get to the bottom of it. I do apologize. Before I do that, though, let me draw the commissioners' attentions to the letters up here, because we have new commissioners, including me, we may not have experienced a consent agenda before. I know 5E had it, but it was virtual for a while, so maybe it did it in a different way. We have on our consent agenda right now 7 items lettered A through G. And how a consent agenda works is any commissioner can take any of those items off the agenda, and if it comes off the agenda, that means we will debate it and discuss it. But if there are agenda items where no commissioner feels like we need to debate and discuss it, that we can just pass it, they can stay on the consent agenda, and then we adopt the consent agenda all together at once. So as of right now, all 7 are on the consent agenda, and when we take this break, any commissioner feel free to come up and steal letters, and the letters that are left are the ones that will remain on the consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions on that? Yes, Commissioner Sani.
Yes, could you remind us what F and G are?
Sure.
Because, they are not on the draft agenda.
That's true. So B,
Yeah.
so A through E are through there. F is the item Commissioner Hurst added, the BZA 20844 relate. Is there like a business or something like it?
Maybe we could call it, what is it?
401 Michigan Avenue, I guess.
How about a theological college?
Theological College, all right. And then item G is the one Commissioner Williams added relating to Crocken's ABRA approval. All right. I've moved to recess for 5 minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Anderson. Is there objection? Without objection, we are recessed until 7:37. Thank you.
Let's look at results.
I don't know what's going on with the link,
You're better.
but the link's not right.
Yeah. So.
I have a
Good.
Zoom
No,
account
good.
that can do 500.
What's going on? I know.
Can we just do that?
Should use my sharp elbows. I don't know what
Or is
happened
there something we can fix about the link?
Oh, yeah.
Share the link in the Teams chat.
Can I still? Yeah, thank you. Oh my, that's hospitality at Chase thing.
Basically,
Thank you, sir.
that because of this registration issue, they're being prompted to register, and if they click the link, they're saying, they're basically big fans.
Yeah.
So everyone's waiting to see it.
That's right. Yeah. And the other thing is, well, it's nice sitting next to you too. Yeah, that was always pleasant, but but yeah, I wonder if I should start up my teams too, or whether I'm trying to I didn't want to crowd out the signal and make it or something like that. Oh goodness. Anyway.
I don't know if there's a plan.
That's right. No, we gotta approve the Kraken courts, and then we gotta ask them to go over there so we can play a little pickleball, and then also do our meeting.
Okay, we can
It's under attack, really?
right?
My parents love it. My dad made me play.
This is strike 2 for C.
Yep.
What was, there's one.
So it required everyone for access.
Oh, terrible. My goodness, people being required, that's the worst. Can't Oh, I need to watch that, that's fun. But yeah.
They should,
My
everyone
dad,
should come off.
76 years
And
old and
try
trying
it.
pickleball. I wasn't happy about that at all.
But let's
That's just the real thing.
Yeah, test it.
You had a lot of strategy I didn't have, let's just say. I thought I was, I'm a few years younger. I thought I'd have an advantage, but
Yeah, please
we
get
get
to know each
cracking
other.
open, then maybe I'll
Usually I stay, but
get some skills.
Well, what I like is,
and
they are.
You try to see if you can get
That's true. The kids in the neighborhood.
Hey, can you do me a favor while we're doing this? Can you drop
Call roll
the
cake,
phone
you
and
come
try?
Maybe.
Try
Maybe.
it again and see if that works. I mean,
There we go. Great. That's awesome.
I know.
That's right. Oh,
I know.
Stadium chair.
It didn't work. I just
Oh,
made
yeah.
an adjustment 30 seconds.
I'll watch
ago.
other people too
So,
most of the time. That's all right. But
Come
yeah,
off
no.
again and try again. And let me know how it goes.
Oh, yeah. See, that's awesome.
You have to hop off.
Yeah, that's right. That's
See
good
if you can
stuff.
come in as a person.
Well, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I have to look on TV, I was calling.
Round 2.
So,
on the
we'll
news
see.
last night that
I
were
don't
talking
like
about
this area.
different communities that were against.
Should I make an announcement in the chat, although they can't?
Have we checked to make sure it's
I'm
correct?
like,
Shoshana's checking.
I feel like
Let's
it's
wait-
gonna go
let's wait till we
noisy
see.
as sport.
Again on the elevator.
But you can
But
tell
there could be
people.
even noisier sports. I'm trying to think now which ones they'd be. Basketball's pretty noisy. Yeah, especially if you got a court like that's a wood court. That's a boom, boom. Yeah, it's really not a normal thing. Oh, you got one more minute of break.
It is on phone.
But yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
We're trying to fix the Teams issue, so if they wanna come on virtual,
So they've been trying.
there was some setting that was checked wrong.
I apologize.
I'm taking E off, not yet.
Okay, that's the way to suggest it.
Should I tell the nice
Well-
Christopher to try again too?
Wait,
I think
we're making sure it works
confirming
first.
that
I
first,
like
and
that.
then let's.
Good idea.
Did you wanna pull this one off?
What is it? Oh,
Theological
yeah.
College.
Where is this?
It's not on there. It's the one I proposed. It's the Theological College. Now, get this. There used to be 2 addresses. They added another wing,
Yeah,
but they didn't get a certificate of occupancy.
yeah.
So they're trying to have, it's not, there's no actual construction happening. And all the neighbors around there are non-residential. So you're not really gonna disturb your neighbors. And they wanna be able to rent it as offices, which they have been doing for the last 12 years.
So it's
It's not really, I have trouble believing it's gonna change anything, really, except for that they will be able to have their tenant get insurance.
I just
try,
want to know that the board of zoning essentially is okay with this too.
Yeah, that's true.
If we vote for something like that,
But don't we just, pardon, this isn't the first one, but don't we just advise? I mean, like, we're saying, we think that it's fine if they have a variance of use so that they could use it as office space. But that we think that's okay, and then the board of zoning is still just got to strongly
it's
consider.
still forcing us to.
controllers take out point of view.
I'm sure they don't, but we're just strongly giving our, great weight, right, we just have a great weight, we don't have everything, but,
Oh, but we don't have the last word.
right, well, I don't think we ever will,
That's what
really,
I'm saying,
not that,
you know.
you know, till we become the mayor.
Yeah.
We'll see, that's the next
Yeah,
step.
okay, so the key is, it's still not working with the chain, maybe it's just because it's in the middle of the event.
Yeah,
Well, I moved that we never just changed it.
well, yeah, we've got, now we'll hopefully.
Alright, I am sending around the Zoom thing,
A Zoom thing, oh, okay.
if we want to use that, we
Okay.
can, and we'll have to, I don't know, log in or something, or how do we do it?
Yep, we can do it on there. Great, so when we make an announcement that we're circulating Zoom link, can we update on the website real fast and and we can also just put on Twitter first, right? On the ANC
Okay.
account and then.
I can update the website.
Okay, great, so we'll do that.
Why don't we get it on the website, so I can just tell people go to ANC.
I mean, we're down.
How are you saying?
Don't jinx it, don't
It is
jinx it,
in
knock on
everybody's-
wood somewhere.
You just pop it in on the,
You drop it in again.
I'm gonna ask you more questions, maybe I have to go faster.
No, you ask good questions, you do so. Yeah.
Alright, it is 7:39, I will call us back to order to ask for another recess after I share the information that, we do apologize for the problem on Teams. I understand that the audio call-in thing works, but the link is not working, and we have tried several things and nothing's working. So we are going to set up a Zoom meeting, and send out that link, and we're updating on our website, anc5f.com. And Commissioner Galvan will let me know when it's updated on there, so that we can just tell people go there and click on the link. Is there a way to put it in a chat or something on the Teams, so that people can just go in from there?
Anyone who's joined by phone will not be able to see the chat if they've dialed in.
Okay.
We can put it in the chat, but we can't, so.
Alright, anc5f.com, and you click on meetings.
Alright, yeah, so,
It is not there yet.
So where is the link? I'm sorry.
It's in our inbox.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone. For those of you who missed Commissioner Bishop Henchman's statement, we're going to adjourn for another 5 minutes. We're going to update our website, anc5f.com, with an updated link. It is a Zoom chat. Sorry again for the inconvenience. As he alluded to, we have $0 and are trying to get ourselves bootstrapped. So thank you for your patience. This Teams meeting will end, ANC5F, and we'll have a recording available online shortly after the meeting.
But the meeting will continue on Zoom, and it is now updated on Zoom at anc5f.com.
And we'll reconvene
If
at
you click on
7:45.
meetings, and so I move that we recess. Why don't we make it 7:45? Is there a second?
A second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sani. Is there objection? Without objection, we're recessed until 7:45 when we will be on Zoom.
It's on the website now.
All right. Can we make that a link where people can just click on the link?
Yes, it just fixed it.
And if you're still on the call and you want to write it down, it's zoom.us/j/84108146493 PW PWD equals, and then a bunch of letters. So
Just type that in just real quick.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. All right.
Well, I suppose I should start this meeting.
Yeah.
I just tweeted that.
Mm-hmm.
This evening.
Can we switch your phone to it?
Yes. I'm checking it.
We told you this was going to be a thrilling meeting, everyone. Thanks for your patience.
I'm just glad you guys are meeting.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. Right, we got it.
Look how simple this is.
Yeah.
So we
This is a
call,
little
this
better.
is how we call an audible.
Right.
Any members of the public want to offer an opinion on Teams versus Zoom?
I hate Teams and I don't like Zoom.
Uh-oh,
I
yeah.
love Zoom only. Because Teams like to move all around, so I don't like that.
We're in recess. I should put that in there.
I wonder if I should hope I see Christopher in a little bit, because
Alright, so if you want, you can also use this now as the microphone. Although it'll still come up as me, but
Should I log in too? Does
Hey,
it
we
help
have
to be
people's
logged
names.
in on Teams and on here?
I can actually record this. Alright, so I'm going to stop the other.
maybe it does. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Ooh.
One more note, if there are 3 people still left on EMS Teams, we have migrated over to Zoom. Please go to anc5f.com and you can find the link to the Zoom meeting
Oh, it's
where we
here.
will restart at 7:45.
It's not got my young
Thanks so much.
No good. Okay, no, I don't need the video.
Can you get that into the... Sorry, I don't use the iPhone. It's confusing.
That's true.
Or you want to have individual?
I'm not sure. Can you grant me host privileges?
Oh, that's a good idea.
That way I can control the video presentation.
Do you want to spotlight the room or?
I'll spotlight the room and also share screen.
There you go.
That's what I
You
do.
do not need the video of me.
Whose audio should be on? Should be mine.
There's that one, or you can use yours, you just have to.
No, don't give me a word, just tell me one.
This
Yeah.
We're gonna use the phone.
Alright, so I should stay muted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaker.
Turn speaker off?
Yeah, everyone should have their speaker off. Whenever you're ready, you just hit
Record. Recording.
Alright, let me know when everybody's done doing things. I say we got quite the turnout. Alright,
Are we muted here?
you all set, Commissioner? Commissioner Sani, Commissioner Galvan, you all set?
Let's do it.
Everybody ready? Alright, I'll call us back to order. It is 7:47. You may not have heard me before, but I apologize for the technical issues. Hopefully they are okay now. And we have been audio taping this separate from the system, so you will get a recording of everything we've done to date, as well as us scrambling about this for the past 20 minutes. Next item is committee and task force reports. We've not set up those first 4 committees yet: alcohol licensing, public safety, transportation, zoning. So I don't think they'll have any reports. Somebody can raise your hand if you think that's wrong. But as Commissioner Anderson mentioned, we will be looking for members of the community to join those committees in the near future. So if you're interested in that, please keep an eye out for that and reach out. We do have a task force on outreach that's shared by Commissioner Sani. So do you have a report you want to give?
Yes.
Okay, Commissioner Sani, you're right.
Thank you. Yes, so Task Force and Outreach has been given the mandate of providing a way for the Commission to reach our constituents through all means possible, as well as to provide us with the technology and assets.
Everybody know what it is? It's your boy Laid Back. Another reaction,
Did somebody post the link on Twitter?
Yep.
Don't do that. Can you delete that,
Yep.
please? Just send the people to the
Yep.
website.
Done.
shit made me fucking look. It's your boy Laid Back with another reaction, another review, another episode.
If you go to the participants list.
I know, but I don't know who's speaking. Oh, there it is. Alright. We're kicking you out as fast as you can come in, so just do something else with your night. Alright. It's liking kakakak.
You wanna give me a host?
I don't have, Commissioner Sani, you have, if you want to make a co-host.
Which one are you?
Oh, she, her.
This is going well.
It's nice here, but you did it a while back.
So Callum Frenchie. You want to give it to me too? I can kill people.
Okay.
All right.
You can turn on the lobby if you want.
Thank you. Remove.
Laid Back with another reaction, Another episode. Hey.
Gone.
Okay.
I need to go lobby again.
All right. Thank you to those who are not disrupting the meeting and being removed from it. All right, so where were we? Task Force on Outreach, Commissioner Sani. Sorry about that.
All right, so that aside, yeah, so we've been working on, as you can tell, trying to get out and talk to people and talk to our constituents and hear what everyone cares about. As Commissioner Bishop Henchman mentioned, we had nothing coming in, so it was kind of a bit of chicken and egg. Since we've started, we've had a couple meetings to discuss things and going through various email communication just to get things going. We now have a website at anc5f.com that we are updating. We also have plans for a longer term website, but that requires collection of information from other commissioners as to what should be on it, what resources we should make available, what the community wants to see on such a website. We started a Twitter account, which is how people were letting us know that we had some audio issues earlier, so appreciate that. And we've also, as of Sunday, established a mailing list. So if you want to get an email notification, don't want to bother with Twitter, I understand. That's an option to you. We have a sign-up form that we'll have out here for you to sign in with your name and email address to get notifications of meetings. You can also go to our website, anc5f.com. There's a sign-in form there, so you can join. And so we kind of divided this into phases. We're working on, we've also got a submitted budget proposal for hybrid meeting equipment, and we're also in parallel communicating with the ANC to get grants for technical funds so we can better accommodate a hybrid meeting so we can get those who can come here and also those who can't. And then we're also then focusing on what we need to facilitate all these committees that Commissioner Anderson alluded to. So any sort of survey to figure out what people are interested in, how we can accept that physically or digitally. And then we're also focusing beyond that on the longer term things we need just to keep it going in terms of providing resources to commissioners on how to run a virtual meeting, et cetera. So that's long and short of it. We've delivered on some of it, but still plenty to be done. Thank you. And also open to questions or suggestions after or during the comment section.
Great. Do you want to do questions now?
Sure.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Commissioner Sani?
I've got a comment.
Commissioner Pinckney.
I had one person that did contact me that wants to be on the mailing list to be sent on a regular basis the meeting agenda.
Yes.
So I'll send that to you, give it to you.
Yeah. So for commissioners, please feel free to email me name and email address. That's all we need. And I can integrate those. You can also direct people to, if depending how they comfortably are, to the website where we have a banner that says click here to sign up. Okay. Whichever is easiest for them as well. But both will work, Commissioner.
Thank you. And then if you're in the room, we do have a sign-up sheet as you come in if you want to give us your email to get added. Other questions? Or comments? Commissioner Galvan.
Yeah, I have a comment. To sign up for the committees, the task force also discussed if people don't have access to online resources and they want to actually fill out a physical copy, they can do that. We're still finalizing the form for folks to fill out, but the plan is to have that form at Edgewood Recreation Center so that it can be picked up, and then we will get the information there and set it up. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. I think there's a question in the chat here of how was the outreach committee selected?
The outreach committee was selected by appointment. There was a...
Shut up, Digger.
All right, removing, removed.
Peter. We are that popular.
So to answer your question,
The question: how was the outreach task force selected?
it was selected by a resolution we passed in the previous meeting. I put it out there that I would be the chair, and Commissioners Galvin and Anderson have stepped up to help. As we get more of a baseline in place, just to have and facilitate these meetings, we will obviously try and involve more and more public. Everyone should be as engaged with the commission as they wish. So that's it.
All right. Other questions? Questions from members of the public? Yes.
Hi, my name is Tyra. I'm a constituent from this neighborhood, and I just wanted to know if either of you could explain how you all came to be on this council and kind of your structure a little bit. I'm not familiar with it.
Sure. I can take that if everyone's okay. So we're your advisory neighborhood commission. There are 44, I think, of them in the District of Columbia, consisting of 345 commissioners. We have 7 on ours. Each one of us represents a district of about 2,000 people, and together we represent Eckington and Edgewood. So basically from Brooklyn Metro Station down the New York Avenue Metro Station west. I think it touches North Capitol. Your district go past North Capitol, or is that North Capitol?
North Capitol is where it
yeah.
starts and goes over.
So she's the lower half, the lower left of the
What about 18th Street near Rhode Island?
We're west of the railroad tracks.
Oh, so not over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're on kind of the edge of the district here, and we were all elected in the November election, and I think somebody described it as the lowest level of DC government. I think that's a good, accurate description. Especially responsible for zoning issues, licensing issues, and other improvement issues. And whatever we're not responsible for, we can pass up the food chain to council members and other people that are responsible for. And so we were elected by the community. And I think a majority in contested elections. So it's a big issue, and we're serving 2-year terms. So if you don't like us, 2024 is the time. So I don't know if anybody has anything they want to add to that. Commissioner Pinckney?
Yes. Well, actually, we are part of the District of Columbia Charter. Some very smart men back in 77, 76 knew that we actually needed someone in the communities to come forth with the issues from the community so that they could be heard by the council members and the mayor. So we are in the charter, and I think all of it happened in 77.
We're in the 25th year of it, so
Oh, okay.
or the 25th two-year cycle.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Have there been set goals have there been set goals that you guys said that you're going to accomplish, or?
I think we all have articulated them as individuals. So we're as I mentioned at the very beginning, we're a brand new commission. We started January 1st, and so we're doing a lot of the startup activities right now. But that might be a very good question to ask us each individually, because I think you'll get different answers from different people. There's one commissioner I know who really cares about the rat issue, and they'll talk about rats for a long time. Not anyone on this commission. So.
But could I add that we all aren't new? It is a new commission.
Yeah. We have a predecessor commission.
Williams and I have been commissioners I have for quite a while, and she has for quite a few years too.
Yeah.
And there are certain types of business that do go through the commission, primarily alcohol licenses, zoning issues, but there are other priorities that we will tackle, and you can talk to your commissioner for your SMD as well, to put forth agenda items as well. But there are business items that we are required to vote on as a commission.
Thank you. Commissioner Sani, did you have anything further?
No.
All right. That concludes committee and task force updates. Next is presentations relating to agenda items. I don't think there are any presentations on the first 5. If anybody, beyond what you want to give, and E's been pulled from the agenda, so in debate. And if I'm wrong on that, let me know. On item F, Theological College, did they want to do a presentation?
Let's ask Mr. Rawl. Would you be willing to say a few things and tell us what you can about this case?
Certainly, good evening.
Evening, Mr. Rawl.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the quick shift on the Zoom forum to get us off the Teams. I appreciate it. That was pretty fast. Theological College is located just across the street from Catholic University. It's a big building that actually has two postal addresses. It's 401 Michigan Avenue Northeast and 415 Michigan Avenue Northeast. For some reason, when the certificate of occupancy that the TC has now was obtained, it only lists 401 Michigan Avenue and does not list the other postal address. And the zoning for that area is RN. Bear with me. It is pulling up the application here. It is a zoning that does not permit just general office use generally. It is RA-1. And the office use that Theological College would like to make is it wants to be able to lease a portion of some of the space in 415 Michigan Avenue to some nonprofits that want to have some space there. So they're trying to get another certificate of occupancy that permits the same kind of use for both 401 and 415 in a way that allows general office use. And so I think the request to the BZA was just set up to try to pull the two addresses together so that then a certificate of occupancy could be requested that is updated. When one of your colleagues asked before about had we gone before the BZA already, I thought that my colleague had, who normally would be here, but it looks like she on November 1st went before the ANC 5E before this request, I think, got pushed over to you guys. And so it was there, not to the BZA, so I just wanted to make sure I clarified that. I think the application is teed up and before the BZA, awaiting your decision so that can I go to the next step.
Thank you, Mr. Rawl. Any commissioners have any questions? Commissioner Sonny.
Yes, thank you. So coming out of this, the expectation is that you have a letter or some endorsement from the commission in hand to take before the BZA? Is that what you're expecting?
Ideally, yes.
Other questions?
Yeah.
Commissioner Galvan.
So with respect to changing the occupancy, I understand that doesn't change the current footprint of that building at all. But once you change it to this new occupancy, are there future plans to change the building according to its new occupancy?
Mr. Rawl.
Definitely not. There would be no intent to change anything on the outside or anything on the inside. Just the space that is there, the TPC folks would like to use it for nonprofit office tenants.
Okay, thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Rawl. On agenda item G, did you want them to make a presentation? I guess that's addressed to anybody, but you brought the item.
They can update so that
Okay.
y'all can be into a circle.
Okay.
Before,
What was the name again? Sorry.
her name is Ann.
Kraken Anna Valero, I think is her name. Yeah.
Stop.
I don't think it's Mr. Kraken.
It's Kraken Court. The lady's name is Anna Valero.
Ms. Valero, are you on to update us on your project? There she is.
I'm here.
Go right ahead.
Hi, and I just want to second what some other folks have said. Hats off, already hard to start the new year with a new committee, and you guys are doing an amazing job rolling with the punches tonight. So hats off to you all. As an entrepreneur, I'm used to rolling with the punches as well, and you guys are doing it like pros. I'm taking notes over here, calm under stress. I've met with Commissioner Williams and a number of other folks from the community. I am with Kraken. Kraken is we are opening a 70,000 square foot pickleball facility in roller rink in what most of us know as the former Farm and Mill space up in the Bryant Street Northeast development. It is a facility that we are working with the folks up at the Bryant Street development to make sure it doesn't just lay vacant while they go through their PUD process in order to complete the number of phases going through up in that development. And so we're really excited to be up there for the next few years and work with them. Our company specializes in taking spaces and turning them into venues where, as we say, where people feel welcome, safe, and acknowledged, and we do that by creating immersive experiences. That's really the heart of what we do. It's what we're very passionate about, and what we're really excited about this space is, one, it has a lot of possibility to really engage with the community, and what we love about it and what we love about pickleball and roller skating is that it is very multi-generational, and so it is not necessarily something that just appeals to one age demographic. It's something that can really appeal to a really wide range. Really, my video is going crazy.
We can still hear you. I just turned your video off. You were having an issue there.
We're rolling with the punches tonight, folks.
Yeah.
All the technical issues, and so. What we are really excited about is the partnership possibility up there. There's a really strong senior pickleball group already in the Edgewood community, and so really being able to provide a lot of indoor space. And for us, most of the space in DC, especially around pickleball, is in DPR rec centers that close early, and so really being able to offer extended times for people. In order to, like I said, essentially provide a home for folks who are looking to get out, get engaged in the sport, and get to build a sense of community. That's really what is important to us. We've been working with, like I said, Commissioner Williams. We've been working with some of the folks from Seabury, and then we're in talks with Michaela over at DC Squared. We're going in together on a grant in order to bring youth leagues through some city funds. So there's a lot that will be taking place in the space. But what's important to us is that it is, honestly, it's a space for all. But I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has about the space.
Thank you, Ms. Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off. Yeah.
I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has about what the project is.
I apologize. I try to time that better.
On the message,
hang on. We'll get to it. I want to see if there's commissioners that have questions first, and then we can see if there are other questions. Thank you, Ms. Valero. Questions from commissioners? Commissioner Galvan. And then Commissioner Hurst.
You had mentioned that the plan was to use this space for several years. I know that there's a lot of interest in the community for a grocery store at this location. Do you know how long your current lease is planned for this particular location?
14, right?
So what I think the grocery store question, this is something that we have heard a lot in the community outreach, and really, MRP has been doing a really nice job, I will say, in asking everyone, like, what do you need up in the Bryant Street space? And the recurring theme is that we need a grocery store. One of the things that we are, that I know that they are actively working on, because I've been in meetings with them on this, is how do we get not just a In the interim until, because the reality is in order to put a grocery store up there, you're gonna have to tear down a building and put in a grocery store, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so how can we, especially knowing the fact that we have a lot of space, how can we, knowing that we are partnering, knowing that we're gonna do a lot around, senior leagues during the day, how can we partner with a nonprofit that does mobile, like we have Arcadia up in other parts of the, in the ANC and other parts of the ward, that do a mobile grocery store option. How can we work with MRP in order to do something similar, where we're partnering with an organization that's already in DC that already does essentially mobile grocery stores, and that is already approved in order to take SNAP EBT and senior benefits.
Oh, great. Excellent.
So that's a huge part of the discussion that we're already in with NRP, knowing that, there's both a short-term and a long-term need here. And so we're actively working with them on what's that short-term need and how can we tie it to something that's already going to be meeting that community.
Okay, gotcha. And so I guess I know
Commissioner
that's
Galvin, further question?
Oh, sorry. It's more of a clarification because
And I did want to note that Mr. Meyer from MRP is in the room. I'm not going to recognize you right now, but if you want to talk with him after.
Yeah.
So this is tenant for, I think, 14 months is what this is?
Yeah, and then.
Temporary
tenant.
Yeah, that was my question.
He's the,
Yeah.
he owns the building, so, or is developing,
correct.
is developing
Sorry.
it, so.
Sorry
yeah.
for that, but I
No,
just wanted
these
to know
are all
if
fair
these-
questions, but yeah, you're just saying there's other people in the room who can add more to that answer, which, all right, sorry, you have first.
Understood. Yeah, so it was just how long the lease was planned and when the plan would be to have it up and running, roughly, right?
Well, for right now, we're
Commissioner
talking about the ABRA license they're asking for.
Yeah.
Because it already been approved through 5B prior to this new commission. So only thing that was brought over, is tabled, was the ABRA license, and that's what we're here for tonight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And to
All
that end too, there are very specific grounds under which we can choose not to support an APRA license. Because it's not necessarily approving your business, it's about.
All right, I don't want to get into debate on this. If you want to debate it, pull the item and we'll debate it. Questions for Ms. Valero? Commissioner Hurst, did you have a question?
I guess more of a comment. There are some very excited families for that roller skating rink. So, yes, I do hope that you'll be partnering with schools and trying to make some days affordable days or days when the local community kids that maybe don't have quite as much are able to get in. But wonderful. Stop there.
Yes, most definitely. And to that point, one of the partnerships that we are finalizing right now was with the Volo Foundation. And the Volo Foundation is they're a young professional recreation sports organization that has a foundation arm. And part of the reason we like working with them is because for every community that they're in where they have recreational sports for young professionals, they then do correlating clinics for kids in the area. And so this would be what we want them to do though is knowing the multi-generational facet of what Kraken is going to be is not just have those types of clinics and leagues and teaching kids about different sports in the rec centers, but also in a space that is multi-generational. And so being able to do things where, one of the senior groups has actually offered in order to have some of their seniors volunteer to help teach kids pickleball, how we can do more of that mentorship incorporated in with some of the clinics that Volo is already doing is our intention and sort of the direction we're going. And so definitely focused on how do we make sure that things are affordable in the community.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Valero. Further questions? Any questions from members of the community?
Where is this?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is this done elsewhere is this done elsewhere? I know my aunt plays pickleball all the time, but I guess I'm just wondering, what's the website so we can take a look at where this is?
I'm happy to drop it in the chat so everyone has access to the website.
It's right here.
No, I know where it is. I'm talking about her organization.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been here since 07, so.
So you know.
We all know where Forty Mills is.
So it's experiencekraken.com.
Okay.
And if you still can't get it, you can write it down for me.
Okay.
I don't see the questions in the chat. Oh, sorry. That's me saying we've run out of time on this item, but.
Okay.
From C. Russell.
Okay.
And B, anticipating the affordable for community,
Okay.
and then Nick asking about Sprouts.
Okay.
whether they've already signed
All right.
this.
2 questions from the community. One from C. Russell. Will pickleball and skating be affordable to the community? Ms. Valera.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Sorry, the question is, will pickleball and skating be affordable to the community?
Yeah, so we'll have what is referred to as dynamic pricing. So the pricing will change based off of time of day and day of week. But the intention is for this to be affordable to the community. Candidly, it makes no sense to have a space that isn't when it is community-based activities like pickleball and roller skating.
Thank you. And then a question from the community on, which you may not know the answer to, has Sprouts signed a lease for phase 3? I don't think that's the case.
Everything but
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. You,
no,
is that no or you don't know?
no.
No, the answer is no. So, all right. Time has expired on this item. Does anybody want to extend time?
I would like to ask a question on the liquor license, which is what we're gonna vote on.
Okay. So Commissioner Commissioner Pinckney moves to extend time for a minute, 2 minutes.
Well, a question, that's all, for Ann.
Okay. Move to extend time for how long do you want to extend?
A minute.
All right.
She should be able to answer.
Commissioner Pinckney moves to extend time for 1 minute on this item. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sani. Is there objection? Seeing none, no objection. Commissioner Pinckney.
Ann, hi. What is your primary reason for requesting an ABRA license? Because when I was there with Commissioner Williams, there was some talk about children and serving liquor, and some of the mothers were saying, well, why would you serve it with kids here skating and whatever? So other than your primary reason, what are the hours? Will kids be there while you're serving the liquor?
Ms. Valera.
Or should I say wine? I don't know.
Sorry, Ms. Valera.
I think I heard the question as being, will there be kids there while alcohol is being served? Yes, no different than a restaurant where children can be present eating while alcohol is being served. That is no different. We are responsible in order to keep our liquor license. We're upheld by the regulations that the Alcohol and Beverage Board put in place that prohibit us from serving minors. It is literally how you get it's not just lose your license, it's how you get your business closed down in the city. And so we are dedicated, and we have years of experiences in how we regulate and make sure that anyone under 21 is not served alcohol. We do it at a number of our other facilities in the city. We've never had an ABRA violation. We're very proud of that, and it's a record that we intend to keep here at Kraken.
Okay, and what are your hours as well as your days? Serving.
So we will be open as a facility. To start, we will open 5 days a week. We look to being able to very quickly extend that to 7 days a week. And our hours are going to be dynamic based off of what the response is from the community. And so we know that there are some, no different than some sports like tennis or squash, where there's a subset of the group that wants to play very early before they go to work. If that ends up being a part of our, being part of our audience, then we will be opening potentially as early as 6 a.m. in order to accommodate those who are the super competitive players. We will be open most likely. On weekdays, we will probably be open until 10 or 11, and then the weekends probably until midnight.
Okay, but very quickly, you will not be serving liquor at 6 a.m.
No, legally, we're not allowed to.
Okay, I thought not. Okay, okay, thank you. That's for the parents out there.
You'll have to go somewhere else, I guess. So. All right.
Quick question.
Yes.
To clarify, Anna, could you cover the hours that your license would cover? So you over your.
I'm trying to remember because I don't have the application in front of me. It was a number of months ago, candidly.
I believe it started at 8 a.m. I think.
Whenever the full hours that DC allows, which I believe is from 6 a.m. until 1 a.m. Or no, I take that back. 8 a.m. until 1 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 8 a.m. until 3 a.m. I believe are the legal hours that DC allows.
No, just on a Saturday, maybe. Start off.
Thank you.
Alrighty, time has expired on this item.
Whatever the fuck.
Does anybody want to
Yeah.
extend time on this item?
No.
Alright, so that concludes presentations relating to agenda items. According to our rules, we actually have another public comment here in the middle of the agenda before we vote on things.
I want to
So,
extend that minute because that's a voting item
okay.
that they need to know tonight.
Yeah, we're still going to vote on it.
Yeah,
No, it is.
Yeah.
okay.
So we have another public comment item if anybody wants to comment on the things we're about to vote on. And then I'll remind commissioners the consent calendar is still pretty full, so if you do want to pull items off, please do so before we get to it. Any members of the public wish to address the commission?
And if you are in the chat, please raise your hand and we will unmute you.
Yes, ma'am.
So then going back to this, and you brought up a good point, I'm not sure if you brought it up, but we have a food desert, so we don't have a grocery store. How long will this be here?
I believe the answer was this is a 14-month lease. Did you want to answer that?
Yeah, 14-month lease. MRP is working as quick as possible to try to kick off what we call phase 2 and put it in the grocery store. If this is an interim use, and as soon as we can get phase 2 underway, get the grocery store there, is what we're committed to do.
I know the people online didn't hear most of that, but Mr. Meyer from MRP is here and saying, I'm sorry, did I mispronounce your name?
Yeah, it's Michael Meyer. And
Mr. Meyer expressed that they have a goal of...
It's an interim use, and the idea is to activate the space, get people in it, but this is in no way changing, the plan to go forward with building phase 2, which, including the grocery store. But, so this deal is lining up with when the artists would start construction on these.
Yeah.
And it's, listen, developing right now with the environment is difficult, but we are charging forward full speed and trying to do it as quickly as possible.
Just considering, the pandemic, just never,
Yeah, 100%.
moving here, and I just think about families.
Yeah. Without a doubt, it's a clear need for this area, and we have residents. We want the residents to have access to a grocery store just as much as the community that's here wants a grocery store. So it's a complete part of our plan.
All right. Thank you for that question. It's an important question. Thank you for addressing it, Mr. Rawl. Other questions? I see one in the chat on when phase 2 will start. I think 2024 is what you said. The goal is at least.
That's the goal. And these are complicated development projects with lots of entitlement, lots of
things can go
lots of going on, but that's the intent.
All right. So 2024 is the answer to that. Anything else from the community? I don't see any hands raised.
Just a question.
Oh, there is one?
Nick Cementelli, Express.
Oh, no, we ain't.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I think it's worth clarifying. Is this in reaction to the presentations, or is it just
Anything
general?
on anything? Preferably anything we're about to vote on.
So just for folks on the phone, we're returning to public comment. It doesn't have to be in reaction to the 2 presentations we've heard. If you would like to be recognized, please raise your hand or indicate so in the chat if you are joining online. Okay.
All right. I think public comment is closed. We'll now move to our action items. So on the consent agenda, I have A, B, C, D, F, G. The only one pulled off so far is E. Last call if anybody wants to pull anything off. for debate.
One more time,
Commissioner Pinckney.
one more question. On the, on item C, can we talk about item C for a minute?
Do you want to pull it off?
Oh, you give it to me?
I guess so.
I guess
Yeah.
so.
I wanted that.
All right, so we'll come back to that. Other items you want to pull off the consent calendar? All right, seeing none, the chair moves that we adopt items A, B, D, F, and G. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hurst. Is there objection? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, those items are adopted. So that leaves C and E. All right. Starting with item C, Commissioner Anderson, can I hand the gavel over to you? I'm the sponsor of this item and I should preside over it.
Okay, I will take over the gavel. I recognize the chair to present.
Good evening, everybody. As I think has been said about 10 times so far, we are a brand new commission, having started January 1st. Prior to January 1st, we were united with Bloomingdale in what was Commission 5E, and then as of January 1st, Bloomingdale stays in 5E, and then Eckington and Edgewood are now in 5F. Over that time when we were all together in one happy Bloomingdale, Eckington, and Edgewood family, Commission 5E accumulated a large amount of resources drawn from the allotments that commissions get from taxes paid by residents in the city. So Bloomingdale, Edgewood, and Eckington residents put in a lot of money, and 5E accumulated those. As of January 1, that money is with 5E, all of it, and we did not get any of it. DC did vote an emergency allotment of, and I always get the number wrong, but it's
$4,800.
$4,830 something dollars to help with our startup activities. And if you've seen the draft budget from Commissioner Anderson, which we're going to do as our next item, that doesn't go very far and will go away very quickly. So we're doing a number of things. We're obviously trying to ramp up our activities very quickly so that we can unlock that emergency allotment as well as our future quarterly allotments. We are applying for the OANC Technical Fund to help cover some of our technical costs. And then what this resolution proposes is that we set a goal of securing half of the assets of the old 5E Commission and empower the chair, me, to go and negotiate that with Commission 5E. So that's a bit of the background on it. I think this is partly our money, and we should try to work with 5E to find a way to secure it.
I'd like to turn to the commissioners to see if anyone has a question.
Oh, well, yeah, I have comments on the resolution. I think that if we are trying to secure funds from 5E, to me, and only to me, the word divide would sort of not go over well with me. I think share would be a much better word. It is easier to take than I want you to divide your money. No, it does, I don't think it works that way. Also, instead of referring to ANC 5E as the old ANC, the previous ANC 5E. Those are words that might get the commissioners on the 5E commission, a little rattled. Like with old ANC and just divide our money. I don't think that's a very nice way to put it. But that's my opinion.
Recognize Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
I think those are amendments that I would be perfectly fine with. If you wanted to move to substitute the word share for divide and the word previous for the word old.
One quick question. Didn't I read somewhere, it could have been in the code or wherever I read it, I'm sure I saw it, that actually ANC 5E does not have to share with us.
So
You're pushing it.
it's a good question. Yes, they're not required to, and apparently, from what this is my conversation with Chairman Mendelson's staff. 10 years ago, it was different. 10 years ago, they did they being the DC Council, kind of seize everybody's assets and then redistributed them out.
Yeah.
And as you might imagine, everybody hated that. So they're not trying to do that this time. So their solution was instead this very modest amount of emergency allotment. And as far as at least that office in the DC Council is concerned, that completed what they needed to do. So this is not required by law, at least as current law is. I think it's more of maybe a moral obligation, and we'll see what we can do. I think we have a very strong case that we helped accumulate these assets.
Any questions or comments from any other commissioners? Okay, seeing none, I'll quickly turn to the public. If anyone would like to address this point specifically, please let me know in chat or by raising your hand, either in person or online.
Okay, well, since nobody's speaking up, I have another comment.
Okay, we'll return to Commissioner Pinckney.
Chair Henchman, you just said that we help them acquire this funding. Commissioner Williams and I helped them acquire. You are still all new. The whole commission is new. And so all I'm saying is that we are kind of begging them for money because we need it. I would still say that we just go a little easy on this resolution. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments from any of the other commissioners?
I don't think it hurts to ask.
Oh, it doesn't.
Okay.
It's the way you ask. It's the way you ask.
Oh.
Do we turn it to a vote at this point, or do we do presentations?
I don't know if she wanted to. No, it'll be a vote. I don't know if she wanted to move those amendments.
Change those words, and that's it.
Okay, so there's been a motion to change, make an amendment to the wording. Okay.
Second.
Divide to share, old to previous.
Yeah.
Second.
Second.
That's about it. Yeah.
Any objections? None noted. I will now turn to a roll call vote. I will start alphabetically. Commissioner Anderson, I vote yes. Commissioner Bishop Henchman.
Aye.
Commissioner Galvin.
Aye.
Commissioner Hurst.
Aye.
Commissioner Pinckney.
Aye.
Commissioner Sani.
Aye.
Commissioner Williams. So we have a unanimous vote. I will turn the gavel back to Chair Bishop Henchman.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson, and I'm going to recognize you to discuss item E. And I did want to note, I'm the one who pulled it off the agenda, and it's not A, because I think we have to talk about it, but B, by law, we cannot adopt the budget at the same meeting that we present it. By law, we have to present it at one meeting and then adopt it at a subsequent meeting. So I pulled it off so that we don't break that law. But with that, I'll recognize Commissioner Anderson.
Okay, so I will preface this with saying that this is a draft budget. It's incorporated some of the feedback that commissioners have sent. It has been circulated via email, and I offered to be the leading pen on this because we were all kind of working on different startup tasks, but certainly it is just a starting point. So as was referenced before, we do have initial funding that comes to us of $4,838.25. My understanding is that the quarterly allotments after that point come at the end of the quarter, not at the beginning of the quarter, so just to keep that in mind. I do recognize that this current draft means that we're not cash flow positive in the initial onset, and I will work to rectify that in the budget. If you look at there are two documents as part of the budget. The first one is kind of an overall summary based on categories that the different funding goes into, and the second document goes into the specific specific line items of that budget. Some of them have been indicated as optional. Some of them do have larger costs. The other column that I think is worth calling out is that the Office of ANCs does have a technical assistance grant, which we would like to apply. Have we already, just point of inquiry, have we already applied for it?
Just to answer that, we have not, because they haven't updated the form to include new commissions.
Okay.
So I'm working with OANC to address that.
So there is a fund that we can tap into, and I do think we have a strong argument given we are a new commission. As you've probably noticed throughout this meeting, we're using a lot of personal devices to get this meeting up and running. And the items that we would put forth for the tech grant would make sure that we are able to conduct hybrid meetings in a way that is fluid and that is able to make sure that we capture the meeting procedures effectively. So those are two big points I wanted to make. I also do want to point out that we did hear from the head of the Office of the ANCs yesterday that there is a plan to potentially have a central printer for high volume printing for all of the commissions and a hybrid meeting kit that they're working on putting together. There hasn't been a timeline set out for that. It's unclear what the exact equipment is. So until we have more clarity on that, I do think that there are certain technologies, for instance, Zoom and a proper license that we would like to invest in. One point that I would like to point out for the initial funding is that there was an idea that was floated of potentially doing a mailer in order to make sure that, given 5F in itself is a new commission, to make sure that community members are aware of the meeting times and any other key information. That is a higher level cost, so just wanted to kind of put that out there. I will pause there and, actually on that big mailer point, that estimate is based on a color mailer and would love, I think what idea could be to get an estimate to see if a black and white mailer would be at a lower cost to bring that expenditure down. As you'll probably note, paper actually costs a lot and printing costs a lot, but we're trying to minimize some of those costs there. So I'll pause there.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. We'll open up for questions or comments.
I have a question.
Commissioner Pinkney.
So until the area or whatever is necessary for us to print in volume, can the commissioners have their own paperwork printed up for their commission?
So I think that's an item for...
And be paid for it.
Okay. Commissioner Anderson.
So I think that's something that we could budget out. In the budget that is currently proposed, rather than, because it's unclear what the timeline for the OANC printer is, in the budget there is a line item for a printer that would be for 5F. And that would be, what's been budgeted here is something that could accommodate high volume printing, as well as ink and paper.
And how much is
Commissioner Pinkney.
The printer, and I think this is on the higher end, just to make sure that we weren't coming short, was $500. And one thing that I did include in this draft budget is essentially an allotment of $100 per commissioner per quarter to supplement. So if, for example, a commissioner wanted to tap into other methods or needed supplemental supplies for constituency outreach, or they could tap into that funding.
Okay,
Commissioner Pinkney.
The commission, I believe at our first meeting that for a quarterly community update, it's not even a newsletter because newsletters are very expensive because they're in color. But for a quarterly update, it was costing me at its cheapest $433 per quarter. And so you're saying that we can only receive 100.
Just to clarify, is that the printing or what was that
Printing.
cost?
Printing cost.
Like at FedEx or something?
Yes. I get 800.
Okay.
Is that,
So-
is that just a statement or a question?
A question.
Okay.
So I'm spending $433, and you're saying I can only get $100 per quarter.
Commissioner Anderson.
So I think this was, what I proposed here is a compromise of sorts, because as we kind of discussed in that meeting, because we have a limited amount of funding for that first year, and if we did the math at that point in time, if we had 433 per quarter per commissioner, we'd basically exhaust our budget, right? So one of the compromise here was if we had gotten our own printer and invested in, kind of use that towards other supplies so that we could print in-house, so that we were able to reach, so that we were able to save on some costs, and if any of the commissioners wanted to supplement the materials that are being acquired, that we would have an allowance of an additional $100 per quarter.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Other questions? I have one on the quarters.
Yeah.
You have it breaking down initial quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, because I think that's how the allotments are structured.
Yes.
Like whenever we get our act together, which hopefully now will be very soon, we can get that initial funding, and then quarter 2 arrives at the end of quarter 2, which I get we're in the first month of the year, but we're actually in the second fiscal year quarter. So as far as your negative end balance thing, initial
Yes.
funding in quarter 2 is actually the same quarter, so it may not actually be a negative.
Okay, great.
Obviously, we've got to watch our cash flow. I mean, we're spending things and we don't have money, but like we have to be very careful about that. But that may address that issue, separate from whether we add or cut things.
Okay, that's helpful.
Other questions?
And actually, on that point too, when you
Commissioner
go through, as you look at the line items too, I made a note basically that there's a slight difference between the quarterly disbursements since they come at the end of the quarter, but the expenditures would happen during the quarter. So it's a little bit of a distinction.
Other questions? I had a further question on community grants. You're committing to a lot of money on community grants. You want to talk about why you're proposing that?
Sure, that's a good question. And on that point too, I'd love to dig into the grant details of how to best practices on running grants. I think there has been a lot of we've been hearing from the community that folks would like the grant program via the ANC to start up again. We understand that that can be challenging and requires a lot of legwork. So I've put this towards Q4. I do think I think realistically to launch a grant program before that will be difficult. One additional idea could be that maybe we do a micro grants program of 3 grants of $250 or a smaller amount, and do that as kind of a soft launch and do larger grants at the end of the year. But there are certain legalities that we need to work through. I do believe in the bylaws that we adopted. We mentioned that the grants need to be given through a 501c3. So there are some things like that we need to work out. We would want to make sure that we advertise the grants and get the word out, that we also leave time for folks to be able to get their materials together to print the application, and also build in some time to review those applications as well. And as far as the amount, $5,000 ends up being about a little over a quarter of the budget. And if we kind of stick to these expenditures, I do think that having some level of reserves to be able to pivot if necessary, given that we are a new commission, would be helpful. So I think about a little over 4,000, basically about a quarter of our funding as reserves, I think would be helpful.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Other questions? Just a housekeeping item, because we've not yet adopted your proposed draft as the draft in front of us. Why don't you make that motion now, and we'll see if people are fine with that. And then, as I said, we're not going to do final adoption at this meeting. We're going to let the community look this over for the next month, if we do indeed adopt your draft as our draft and then consider it at our February 28th meeting. So are you making that motion?
I motion
Okay.
to introduce
So
this.
Commissioner Anderson moves to strike the $50 budget that we had originally and substitute in the draft that she has circulated. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Galvan. Is there objection? Without objection. And then I guess, let me say if there's any further debate or discussion on the budget.
Let me,
Commissioner Anderson.
what I will say is that some of the licenses that have been added in here, I think it's worth clarifying that they have additional costs based on how many people are added in. So we'd love, for everyone, every constituent of our commission to be part of the mailing list. I think that will take some time, so we may have to flex based on how many folks we have on our mailing list, for example. And I will also like to reiterate that this is a draft and we would love input. I strongly believe that it's easier to react to a draft than it is to start from zero. So this is very much just a starting point for conversation.
Yes, I will certainly reinforce that point. If you think we should be spending more on this or less on that, please let us know over the next month. And then I want to express my appreciation for Commissioner Anderson, to you for pulling this together. I know it's not easy, and I wish we could do everything all immediately, and I know that's not possible. So thank you for working really hard on this. And then Commissioner Sani, I know a lot of the members came from the outreach network, so thank you for that work as well. I will therefore move that we postpone final consideration on this item until the next meeting to be in compliance with DC law on this. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Hurst. Is there objection? Without objection. Other reports and presentations. We had invited in person Mr. Ingram from the mayor's office to speak and present. I was not able to get a hold of him today to confirm, and I don't see him in the room unless he's wearing a disguise. And then if he's online, please raise your hand and alert us to your presence, and we'll recognize you. If not, we may skip that item. But we do have Mr. Bonar from Councilmember Parker's office, and unless there's any objection, I'd love to recognize him to share what our Ward 5 council member is up to. Without objection, Sam, if you're there, you can unmute you. We can't hear you. You got it. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Okay, take it away.
Hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry about that. Hey everyone, my name is Sam Bonner. I am a neighbor of the edge of Edgewood here on Rhode Island and Lincoln, Northeast. And I am one of 3 constituent services coordinators for the council member, the newly elected Ward 5 council member, Zachary Parker. And how we split it up is each of the 3 constituent services coordinators are taking the lead on issues in a different subset of ANCs. So I am ANC 5E, but really on the edge of E and F, and so I'm handling the issues for our area. So I'm happy to be of service in any way that people have in terms of navigating different problems with the government agencies, or also if there's just something you need direction on and someone to talk through and have support. We want to be as supportive as possible of the needs of the community. So if there are any type of ways that you want us being more responsive, or things you could need from us in terms of collaboration, we'd love to help with that. And you can reach out to me at my work phone or email, which I will drop in the chat. I'm sorry, I'm on my phone, so I have to kind of type it in here slowly. I said that to see if I was phone slow to everyone. Sorry about that. Well, let me share my updates and then I'll put them in the chat.
Sure.
So the other big thing is we have a newsletter that has been sent out every Wednesday. And we're encouraging folks to sign up for that. I'll drop a link in the chat to that forwards to the newsletter. You can see the most recent one, as well as clicking on the top left to subscribe or see past issues of it. And that's where we're going to be doing a lot of the, hey, here's the programs people need to apply to, deadlines coming up, this is what the council member's been up to, explaining the legislative process, explaining the budget process, and events in the community. It's been very informative. It's long, so maybe you won't, it definitely is detailed. So I encourage you to sign up, and when you get a chance to read it, there's a lot of juicy stuff in there. That said, one of the main things we're talking to folks about in the most recent newsletter, and we'll continue to do that over the next couple weeks, is performance oversight season. So in the annual budget process, which the budget is finally passed in June, before that there's a series of hearings for every agency about, people can testify saying what are the different budget asks they have. And before that are the performance oversight hearings. So that's what we just started this week, actually the end of last week. And that is for community members to share, hey, this is what did or didn't work with this agency over the past year. So we're encouraging all community members, thank you, Steve. We're encouraging all community members to sign up to testify for a hearing for one of the agencies if they have something to share. I'll also drop in the chat a link that you can just share with our office and legislative staff if you want something that you want the council member to know in the questions he asks in those hearings. So he'll have a chance to kind of grill or ask questions to the agency heads of the different agencies that he's on committees of. And then the last thing I would say is that is you can also submit written testimony, and in some of them you can even submit a voicemail testimony. So if you don't have time to stay on Zoom during a work day during one of the hearings, when the hearing is, you can either submit comments to us for us to push for in our questions, or you can submit questions or comments about how the district agency is doing, whether it needs to change, how it needs to change, what instead you would like to see. You can do that directly to the committee that's in charge of it. So that was a lot I just shared with y'all. So I'm going to put the links in the chat, and happy to answer any questions commissioners or the community members have.
Thank you, Mr. Bonner. We'll open it up to questions from commissioners. Commissioner Galvan, Commissioner Anderson, Commissioner Sani, Commissioner Hurst.
I do have one question, wearing a slightly different hat for you. I am a DC public school teacher. Do you happen to know when they're going to vote on the DC public school teachers' impending contract and hopefully a raise?
Mr. Bonner?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that question. I do remember seeing, I'm not on the legislative side, so I often will just kind of mark as read a lot of the emails that have to do with like organizational things, but I did see something being circulated that about the contract. I can dig in a little bit deeper and try and find the answer to that, or I'd recommend reaching out to Connor Shaw, our Deputy Chief of Staff, or Kendra Wiley, who's our Legislative Director, will have a kind of a more nuanced take on it.
Okay, there'd be a few people interested where I work.
Understood.
Anything further, Commissioner Hurst?
No.
I'm going to put the newsletter short link in the chat, and then the form for folks to give us information about anything they want the council member to share it over site, and then the schedule, which is not super readable, but that is the way the council does things sometimes on their website. For the full oversight schedule, so you'll have to dig through it. There's two different sections. One has all of the different committees and agencies and times, and then the other one has for each agency what are the rules for signing up.
Commissioner Williams, any questions? Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Did Commissioner Williams have any questions?
You got any questions?
Okay, Commissioner Baker.
I previously sent you an email stating that we need to really get together. I haven't had time to send you a second email with a time and date, hopefully that you can do. But I look forward to us getting together, hopefully in the community though, because I think that's the best place for us to get together so we can see and talk about some of the community. And the issues as well.
And businesses?
Issues as well.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And yeah, happy to. I've done a lot of these for everyone who's responded. Sometimes I'm happy to meet at the Wilson Building, happy to meet in the community, especially at the beginning of the day. So yeah, feel free to pick a time and a location. Happy to join you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions from the community for Mr. Bonner from Councilmember Parker's office? I had one further question. I know Councilmember Parker is a freshman, just sworn in, and I think the rule is that you don't get to chair committees as a freshman, so he's not chairing any committees, but he's on some committees. What committees did he get put on?
Yeah, so that's Chairman Mendelsohn's rule. There's no actual rule.
Oh, okay.
That is his rule. So the committees that Councilmember Parker is on are Facilities and Family Services, which is a new one chaired by Councilmember Louis George, which is most of the previous Human Services Committee, besides DHS. So a little confusing. But then the Committee on Health, the Committee on Hospital and Health Equity, which is focused on 2 hospitals east of the river, the Committee on Transportation and the Environment, which is now chaired by Chairman Allen, and the previous 2 were for Chairman Henderson, or Councilmember Henderson and Councilmember Gray. And then the last one is Housing, which is chaired by Councilmember Robert White.
So if constituents have questions on any of those issues in the city, Councilmember Parker is in a very strong position to be able to pass them along, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, I will say with any issue, you know, if it's like, I will try and handle it for someone. I will often, if I need to escalate it or find a better number, or sometimes direct someone towards the committee chairman's office, because they're going to have a little bit more resources and time to do the direct oversight. But usually, if it's just like a direct service kind of issue, I'm still going to be the one to try and do the work on it. Where Councilmember Parker has unique influences, he gets to actually vote on any bills that come through that and vote on the final budget for that committee. But yeah, I think he would have, you know, any kind of issue he's going to have a similar in terms of, you know, he can hop in and ask questions at other committees and stuff like that.
Well, if Commissioner Sani hasn't talked to you yet about the transportation 311 issue, I'm sure he will be soon. So,
He definitely mentioned it.
Okay, good.
So
All right.
sit down and dig in.
Any further questions for Mr. Bonner? Thank you, Mr. Bonner.
Thank you all. And yeah, I put my info in the chat. Feel free if there's any other questions or links I was supposed to drop and still need to do that, I will do. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Last call, Mr. Ingram. I don't think I see him, but raise your hand if you're in there. All right.
Just for folks in the room, we put the information here.
Oh yes, and it's, I was about to read it.
Okay.
SBONAR@dccouncil.gov. That concludes other reports and presentations. Next is appointments to committees or task forces. I don't think we have any applications yet, so I don't think there's anything to do on that item. So the next item is announcements from commissioners. I guess I'm trying to alternate, so we'll start down here. Any announcements, Commissioner Pinckney?
No, I don't have any.
Commissioner Williams?
No.
Commissioner Hurst?
No.
Commissioner Sani?
Yes, if you are in my SMD, 5F02, Edgewood, north to Michigan, 6th Street, east to 8th Street, I've been doing traffic walks every Sunday. It's a good way to chat and get to know neighbors, but also to exercise the 311 processes and teach people how to file traffic safety input requests, so our neighborhood gets the attention it needs with regards to street safety, which I've heard from plenty of neighbors is a huge concern. So if that's of interest to you, please reach out to me. I'm 5FO2@anc.dc.gov, and say hi and come walk along.
Commissioner Anderson?
None for me.
Commissioner Galvan?
Yes, I do have a couple quick updates on the Northeast Boundary Tunnel project. I got an update this morning. I know there's a lot of work.
That's all that construction on 4th North of
Correct.
Rhode Island.
Yes, so there's a lot of work going on at the
And on Rhode Island.
Rhode Island Avenue Northeast at 4th Street intersection. The work is expected to completed by probably the second week of February. And then after that, the contractor will place the road stripes on the 4th Street Northeast and adjust the traffic signals. And then finally, that bus stop will return to service on 4th Street Northeast. There's also a note that a lot of my constituents had mentioned keeping the left-hand turn lane off of Rhode Island Avenue onto Lincoln Road, where that previously did not exist. And DDOT has decided to maintain that westbound turn lane at that location. And that also DDOT has decided that 3rd Street at Rhode Island Avenue, which is currently a one-way into the neighborhood of Edgewood, will return to a two-way traffic once the 4th Street is returned to two-way. So again, I don't know exact dates at this moment, but there's a lot of different variables that are ongoing. But there's some information. If you want to please reach out to me, and I will get you access to the newsletter that the Northeast Boundary Tunnel Project does. And just a quick review, the Northeast Boundary Tunnel Project mitigates flooding by putting these massive tunnels underground, so that the water, instead of being dumped into the Anacostia when it rains heavy, goes down to the wastewater treatment plant down at Blue Plains. And
Instead of basements in Bloomingdale.
Instead of basements in Bloomingdale and Edgewood and Eckington. So that's been a long time coming for a lot of the neighbors in the southwest portion of Edgewood. So I appreciate everyone's patience, and I'll keep people posted either on Twitter or on Nextdoor. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Galvan. I have 2 announcements. One, WMATA very soon will be coming out with a better bus study, which indications are, I don't really know, but the chatter is that it will be fairly transformative relook at the bus network in the District of Columbia, with a larger focus on frequent service on corridors. They're looking to move very quickly on this, so they want to actually implement whatever they come up with next year. And so this will be the year for public input. So keep an eye out for that. I'll share it when it's available. I'm sure all the commissioners will, and certainly scrutinize it and for if it's an improvement over the status quo, and if it's not, we'll make some noise about it. I brought up this subject with Councilmember Parker's staff and emphasized. I suggested that they do a ward-by-ward look at service levels before and after the change and make sure Ward 5 is not being shortchanged. The other announcement, I've been asked by DC Health to remind everybody that today is January 31st, which is the last day to sign up for the DC Health Exchange. If you get your health insurance through the exchange, either you're as a private individual or if your company goes through the exchange. So if you have health insurance through the exchange and you haven't done anything in the last 2 months on it, tonight's the deadline in about 3 hours. So be sure to go to 2 hours and 56 minutes. So be sure to go to DC Health link and do that. That's all I have. That concludes announcements. We added a further public comment section, so we'll open it up for public comment. That was you.
Because I'm thinking I'm getting ready to go and we have another public comment.
The Commissioner Pinckney sponsored public comment here.
Okay, did somebody say something?
Oh.
No comment?
I'm not seeing anyone in the room, and I'm not seeing any hands up online. Oh, we got one online.
Thank you.
Can we unmute Donetta Clark? And we'll recognize Donetta Clark. Ask to unmute. Yes, Donetta Clark. You are unmuted. Go right ahead.
Hi, this is actually Michael Clark.
Oh, Michael Clark.
Just to make an announcement, I think tomorrow is the opening day for the Summer Youth Program registration for young people. Please let our young people know that the Summer Youth Mary's Summer Youth Program will open tomorrow with online registrations. Please let our young people know about that. For their summer employment. And also just a comment that the commissioner will push for, I know the right turn onto 3rd Street and roll out of Avenue, trying to put that
Can you tell the whole second?
Sorry.
Sorry, Mr. Clark, you're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, that's true.
Mr. Clark, if you're walking around, can you go back to where you were a moment ago? There we go.
No.
Sorry, Mr. Clark, we're only getting about every other word. We did get that first full announcement on the youth signups. I'll tell you what, Mr. Clark, if you can hear me, email me your announcement and I'll send it out. Yes, sorry. All right. Any other public announcements? Or any other any other public comments?
Please raise if you have any other comments and you're online, please raise your hand.
Is there any other business? So that'll conclude public comment. Is there any other business?
I see a hand.
All right, just under the wire. Simon Gillette, go right ahead.
Hi, all, and thanks for hearing from me. Sorry, I was putting my kids to bed, so I just stepped out. I just wanted to mention that I've talked to. First of all, thank you all for what you're doing, setting up the new 5F commission. Thank you to Jen, who's my ANC, and thank you to Sylvia. Is Sylvia there?
Yes, I am. You haven't heard me.
And thank you to Sylvia, who's been my prior ANC for many years. The only thing I wanted to mention real quick, I've talked to many of the ANCs that are there tonight over the last 5-6 months, or Sylvia for years, about an effort in Eckington to turn a small triangular alley lot into a public park. I just wanted to give an update to folks that we're still working on that effort. I actually met with Councilmember Parker today at his office hours and spent some time with him talking about it. And I will be sending a letter, probably to Jen first, maybe to the whole commission, about our effort to move to our next phase of trying to work with the city to acquire the land. And Sylvia's been a great partner through the years on this as well. So I'll leave it at that. I know some of you are aware of that effort, and others in the community have been enthusiastic about it. So I will be sending that along, and the best venue is probably not in a 2-minute public statement, but I look forward to sharing that information with you all in the future.
Thank you. Other public comment? All right, I think that was the last one. So.
Hold on for a second.
Nope. Oh, we're muted.
Okay. Is it unmuted?
Can you just unmute here?
One second. It's ANC 5F.
My people,
Oh,
I mean,
We didn't vote on the
All right, sorry, we muted ourselves. All right.
We had it as one of the consent.
No, it wasn't, it was a voting, it was for action.
voting for action.
Yeah. We
We didn't vote.
Yeah, what, we
We
didn't
did.
vote? Did we vote?
Yeah.
Oh, when we vote on this, cause I didn't have my input on it. voting for them to
we-
get this?
On the Apple license?
With the
We
items
voted yes.
in,
We adopted it
Okay, under the consent.
under the
calendar.
consent calendar.
On the consent calendar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
we're
not how it works.
No, that's not how it
That's
works. We're supposed to put the vote count at the bottom of the resolution.
It was unanimous. There was no objection. That's what the consent calendar is.
I know that, but they're gonna have to take something or send something to Abra.
Yeah,
I asked for action, not consent. Because I knew it had to be a voting item for me to write up this resolution for this.
this is why it's important to circulate this ahead of time, so we're not doing this on the fly. So what I would suggest is, if you want to take the first crack at writing it, because we've voted to empower you to write a approval.
But I need a yay, nay, abstain. I need the numbers.
I mean, you have drafted it here, right?
Okay.
What do you want us to do right now?
It needs to be done individual votes.
Okay, and here's the difference, and I know you all hate to hear me say this. 5E, often, we did not write a resolution until after we got the vote and filled in the vote. Complete the resolution. So you're doing it differently. We don't have to do resolutions. We can put it under consent.
How it's worked is, like on mine, I drafted something, we reviewed it ahead of time, you came with edits for it, and we pulled it off the consent calendar, we debated it, we amended it, we passed it.
Okay, but we don't have to do it that way.
We need to come up with
Somebody needs to write something.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't think that's gonna happen in the next, couple minutes, right?
It's already written, I just need the numbers.
Oh, it is
Because
written.
It needs to be
All right.
signed.
So I will take the point that the consent calendar should be done by roll call. I don't think we can do that, that's fine. But it was unanimous, but we can do it as a roll call if we wanna do that. So, on the consent calendar, which was to adopt those items, we've debated it, we've moved it, we've seconded it. There's no objection to voting. Could the vice chair call the roll?
and just as a point of inquiry, so we are now currently doing a roll call vote on the consent items.
Yes.
And the item for Kraken is a resolution in support of the license.
Yes.
Okay. Is there language that we can see right now on the
Commissioner
On
Williams?
my computer at home. But I'm not. We can do it that way this time.
Okay.
I need to know this new formula that y'all gonna partake in. We all need to know.
Would you be able to circulate that
We all
tonight?
need to know.
Just so you know, when you raised this item, I asked, is it a discussion item or an action item? And if it's an action item, can you circulate the language?
I said an action item. That's what I said.
I didn't get that email.
I know.
I'll have to find that email. Can you resend me that email? All right.
Sure.
Commissioner Anderson, can you call the roll on the consent calendar,
Okay.
which is A, B, D, F, G?
Okay, calling roll call, going alphabetically, I vote aye. Commissioner Bishop Henchman,
Aye.
Commissioner Galvin, Commissioner Hurst,
Aye.
Commissioner Pinckney,
Aye.
Commissioner Slaney,
Aye.
Commissioner Williams.
Alright.
Unanimous vote.
So all of those items were adopted 7-0 and passed. Is there any further business? Seeing none, the chair will move that we adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Anderson. Any objection?
No.
Without objection, we are adjourned at 9:15 p.m. Thank you all.
I have a ride if I hurry out. But it was fun to hang with you all. All right. We'll do it again soon. I think in 1 month. Right?
That works for me.
Yeah,
I have a quick question. Who's the commissioner of this? Oh, okay. Great.
I was gonna talk to you after I finish here.
Okay, great.
What's the,
Oh,
you
yeah.
said-
With this backpack, but then I'm gonna.
Okay.
That's
So,
so
you send that to me, and I'm gonna,
Yeah,
from
I
my
know, it's been
perspective,
great
as
all
long as
day.
it
Oh, you
is an approval of the agri license.
Thank you.
I'll sign
Thank you
it.
for your time also. I know it's not the most exciting way to spend a Tuesday night.
Yeah, but,
I'll do that tonight as soon as I get it.
Yeah, I'm in Edmonton.
Okay. Half okay, I have friends over there. I live right here.
All right.
Nice.
So teams
Yes,
versus Zoom.
I mean,
Let me turn this off.